greatest time in American sports and Canada is here. The Stanley Cup playoffs. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. My name is Paul Jr. and today we're going to be doing my 2023-2024 Stanley Cup predictions. I did this last year. I also did the NBA last year. Not doing NBA this year because I don't know anything about the NBA. But I'm pretty keen knowledge on the NHL, so we're going to do my Stanley Cup predictions. So let's get started. Where's the Penguins were in it? But no! Anyway, first matchup, the Dallas Stars versus the Stanley Cup champions, defending Stanley Cup champions, in the Las Vegas Golden Knights. This is a rematch from last year's last year's Western Conference Final, when Vegas destroyed the Stars in 6 games. This game is going to be definitely way different. Stars are looking absolutely unstoppable. This game's going to be totally different from last year's Western Conference Final. I got I got Dallas winning in 6 games. I don't think Vegas is the team that they were last year. They definitely been weaker this season. If they can stay healthy, they're definitely a dangerous team. But I believe Dallas is not going to steamroll them. I think they'll take them in 6 games. 6 games sounds pretty good. Next matchup, Colorado versus Winnipeg. This matchup, for me, is probably my second to least, looking, upon matchup that I want to see. I still think Colorado is going to take Winnipeg in about 6 games. I still think Winnipeg is still a little dangerous team. Not as much as Dallas, but a little dangerous team. And Colorado, as we know, has been a dynasty at this point, only winning 1 cup, though. I still think Winnipeg's going to give Colorado a shot. Switching back and forth. I just think Colorado's the better team. Vancouver versus Nashville. I got Vancouver steamrolling Nashville in 5 games. I think Nashville might give them a shot in Nashville, but Vancouver's just been looking absolutely great. Edmonton versus LA. Last 3 years, we've seen this playoff matchup in the playoffs. I got Edmonton winning this game in 6 games. I think the Kings are not, they're dangerous. But I believe that Connor McDavid's going to steamroll them. He's been playing great over the last few months. Edmonton at the beginning of the season sucked. There were trade rumors how they're going to trade Connor McDavid to a Stanley Cup contender. Yeah, that's changed over the course of the season. Moving on to the Eastern Conference. The reigning defending Eastern Conference champs in the Florida Panthers versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. I got Florida beating the Tampa Bay Lightning in 7 games. The Battle of Florida is always fun to watch on the ice. Tampa Bay is a dangerous team if they can stay healthy. But I just think Florida is better. I think Florida... This game, honestly, for me, is 50-50. I think if Florida can get the more goals on the ice. The thing is, this game's so iffy for me because Tampa Bay's goaltender, so good. He is so good. I forgot his name. He's so good. Moving on, we got another playoff rivalry. 2 teams that absolutely hate each other. Mostly Toronto hates Boston for what they've done to them over the last few years. The Maple Leafs versus the Boston Bruins. Last year, I picked the Maple Leafs to make it to the Stanley Cup playoffs, and then they got steamrolled in the second round 4-1 against Florida. I don't think that's going to happen this year. I got the Boston Bruins defeating the Maple Leafs in 6 games. I still think the Rat is still going to shine as ever. Moving on, we got the New York Rangers versus the Capitals. I'm picking the New York Rangers to beat the Capitals. Not just because I'm a Penguins fan and I hate the Capitals. I love Ovechkin. I think he's such a great guy. But New York has been unstoppable, as with the same as Dallas, really. I think that Dallas and New York are both on the same level of, not dynasty per se, but destruction that they've done over the season. And Washington barely snuck it into the playoffs. But at that point, you can look at Washington saying, hey, they made it, they got a shot. They do got a shot, but I don't think they got a shot against the New York Rangers. Last game in the Eastern Conference, the Carolina Hurricanes versus the New York Islanders. I got the Carolina Hurricanes beating the New York Islanders, and I'll say 5 games. I really think that... I think New York is not as... They're good, don't get me wrong. But I think Carolina is just on a different level. I saw them live against St. Louis Blues a couple days ago. They just steamrolled St. Louis. They really just steamrolled. And I think the addition of Jake Guentzel was great for them. I'm sad that he left Pittsburgh, but really makes them a Stanley Cup contender. The second round, Dallas Stars versus the Colorado Avs. This game, honestly, might be a Western Conference final, depending on how things go. This game might... Honestly, is a toss-up for me. I got Dallas beating the Avs in 7 games. I still think this is going to be a really back-and-forth game. Odinger, whatever you pronounce his name. I just don't know the Avs player that much. I don't know how they performed during the season. I really wasn't paying attention to the Western Conference, because the East is mine. Moving on, we got the Vancouver Canucks versus the Edmonton Oilers. I got the Edmonton Oilers defeating the Battle of Canada, as I call it. I just think Connor McDavid's been playing on a whole nother level throughout the last few months. I got Edmonton beating them in 7 games. I really think that game's going to go up and down. Both teams are great. Both teams are good. It's just so hard for me to choose. Florida versus Boston Bruins, a rematch of last year's upsetting, technically, because Boston was so great last year. I got the Florida Panthers continuing their run and beating Boston in 6 games. Florida really is on the revenge tour at this point, trying to get back to the Stanley Cup playoffs. That I think they maybe should have won, but Vegas defeated them 9-2 in the last game, and that was fun to watch. Second game, New York Rangers versus the Carolina Hurricanes. This game is going to be so good. Amazing. I can't wait to watch. I do dislike New York, but I gotta go pick the New York Rangers. Beating the Hurricanes in 6 games. With the playoffs, anything can happen. I honestly would not be surprised if the Hurricanes defeat the Rangers. Yeah, I just think Jake Guentzel is great. I just don't think he's enough for how New York has played over the last few years. The last few months, really, just been on a steamroll. Moving on to the conference final games. Dallas Stars versus the Edmonton Oilers. I got the Dallas Stars beating the Edmonton Oilers in 7 games. Going to the Stanley Cup final. Again, Dallas has been on this steamroll path, destroying everybody in their way, losing some games. Don't get me wrong. But they've just been on this steamroll. I love what Edmonton's basically reverberates their season after the horrendous start in the earlier. But I just think Dallas is too much. In the conference final, Florida versus New York. This is where I think it comes to an end, and the Florida Panthers defeat the New York Rangers. The President's Trophy curse is always there. I honestly would not be shocked if the New York Rangers make the Stanley Cup playoffs. But with the curse, I believe in it, and I think New York will get humbled against the Panthers in 7 games. Moving on to the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Dallas Stars versus the Florida Panthers. Will this be Dallas' year after making the Cup final in 2020 and then the Western Conference final and last year? Or will Florida finally get their Stanley Cup that they thought they deserved last year after going that on magical run? Sorry, Florida, but I got Dallas Stars winning the Stanley Cup playoffs and being Stanley Cup champions for the 2nd time in franchise history. Their first was in 1999. I just think Dallas has been on a roll. That's my NHL prediction, Stanley Cup playoff prediction. I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. I hope this playoffs are going to be fun. I hope that there's some upsets. This is definitely not gonna happen. I always get these wrong one every year. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure to... Anyway, make sure you guys subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you guys later.